What's up, my friends? It is Mr. Gallows, of course, who'd you think it was, and welcome back to another glorious movie review. So guys, this past weekend my local movie theater was actually showing Titanic for the 25th anniversary, which was of course back in December. And because I didn't have any new releases that I wanted to see this weekend, I was like, hey, pick 'em up! Now, most of you don't know this about me, but I am actually a massive Titanic enthusiast. Actually, back in the 8th grade, I did a talent show performance where I put on a one-man show of the movie The Titanic. And I dressed up in all the different costumes and played all the different characters, and I basically did this shortened version of the movie playing as all the different characters. And I was the only person in that entire talent show to receive a standing ovation. That's right, me, your boy. And it was one of the coolest moments of my life. Here's my VHS box set of the Titanic, one of the first box sets that I bought for my VHS collection. Yeah, you know, I'm that guy that watches the real-time sinking animations of the Titanic every year for the anniversary. You know, I'm that guy. I'm that Titanic nerd. And there is one single reason for my love of that glorious ship, and that is James Cameron's Titanic. Now, I saw Titanic for the first time for its theatrical release back in 1997, and I remember my mother took me to go see the film, and you know, we didn't go to the theater all the time. It's not like we went every single weekend to see a movie, but whenever there was a big release by a major director, like Titanic coming out, we would go to see it, and it became quite an experience. I mean, I remember audibly saying, wow, you know, as the Titanic passed in front of the screen in front of that tiny ship, you know, being absolutely drawn in and captivated by this great romance that was going on between Jack and Rose. You know, I remember people sniffling and crying in the theater as Jack finally went under. You know, it was an amazing, kind of astounding experience, you know, especially being that young. I think I was 11 years old at the time. And, you know, it was one of those rare movie experiences where you come out of that theater and you know that you have just witnessed greatness. And a lot of that comes simply from James Cameron's amazing directing style, right? I talked about this when I did my Avatar review. I talked about how James Cameron has this very distinct, like, National Geographic documentary feel to his filming. And Titanic was the movie where he really mastered that directing ability to make his movies feel like that. And so what happens is you end up not just watching a movie, but actually being transported to this place in time. You feel as though you are the perfect fly on the wall in all of these situations. So you get to peek into a piece of history and you get to live with them for that moment. And that's a major reason why Titanic is such a great film and why it is so captivating and why it draws you in like that, is because it's being filmed as though it is an actual piece of history, which it is. And of course, this was also a breakout performance movie for two legends that we know today, Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. And you know, after seeing it on the big screen again, you can really understand why they are two of the greatest performers of our generation. I mean, it is marvelous what they do on screen. Their acting abilities are just so on point. You know, I mean, it's one of the major aspects of the film that is so great. Obviously, you have to have two lead performers that are really selling it and are really convincing you, right? And after seeing it in the theater, you know, you can really study and examine their performances. And I mean, they were like classic movie actors in this film. And something else that was absolutely spectacular to see on the big screen once again was, of course, the amazing action sequences as the movie comes to its climax. You know, seeing the ship rising into the air and splitting apart and falling back into the ocean, people jumping overboard and screaming for their lives. I mean, James Cameron did such a perfect job of capturing the chaos and pain and turmoil of that situation as you are transported to this moment in time, transported to this moment in history. And it is absolutely heart-wrenching. It just destroys you. And you know, I have to tell you, as I was leaving the theater, I suddenly started to feel so nostalgic again. I felt like my 11-year-old self leaving the theater, having experienced Titanic for the first time all over again, getting inspired by the history and inspired by the characters and everything. And you know, a lot of that comes from the absolutely heartbreaking story of Jack and Rose, right? Because, you know, that one shot where we see Rose's pictures are lined up on her dresser at the end of the movie, and she's done all these amazing things. And we all think to ourselves, you know, Jack should be in those pictures. Jack is missing from those pictures. We all wanted to see Jack and Rose get off the boat and start their brand new life in America, but it never happened. And that is what leaves you with that sense of melancholy and heartbreak at the end of the film. And that's one of the reasons why Titanic is so great. The best movies, some of the best movies in history, always leave you heartbroken. And that heartbreak that you feel is part of why you love the movie so much. It's amazing how it can have that effect on us, and Titanic is a perfect example of one of those types of movies. So there you have it, my friends, the masterpiece that is James Cameron's Titanic, one of my favorite movies of all time. And boy, what an experience it was seeing it in the theater again. I hope you guys, I mean, I don't know, did you guys, did your local theater do the same thing? Were they putting on a special showing of the Titanic for the 25th anniversary? If so, now's the time to leave all your thoughts, notions, and opinions down below in the Great White Void. And by the way, what a perfect movie to do for Valentine's Day, right? Talking about a little bit of Jack and Rose, of course. But now it comes the best part of the video where I stop stuttering and turn it over to all of you. So now it's time for you guys to leave all your thoughts down below in the Great White Void. And as always, until next we meet, I'm the king of the world. But you guys know that. Later.